quiet, I receive God's word today. I love when it gets so direct and so clear. It's interesting how our minds still find a way to distort it, because obviously this can't be true, right? The idea, even as previous lesson, about being one with God, like, well, yes, okay, but it can't be true. I'm obviously not what God is. I'm obviously not sanctified. I'm obviously not holy. I'm obviously not totality of the universe. I'm so obviously a terrible person. I'm obviously a screw up. I'm so obviously have the wrong things to say. I'm obviously gotta be something less than God because my body's terrible, right? So much justification to believing that this is absolutely impossible. And you'll find that your mind really hops in there very quickly, very rapidly, gets in the way, instantaneously. Even as it talks about that God's voice is closer than your own hand to you. It speaks with your voice. It uses your words. And yet, when you think you're a body, or you think you're a person, yes, it can be disorienting, kind of confusing. Like, what? Duh, I'm not God. I'm not one with God. I'm not Christ. I'm not any of this. What are you talking about? I'm little old me in this meat suit. I have pain, I have suffering, and I have all this stuff. It's rather interesting that when you want something to be true, and even the forgetting that you wanted something to be true, that it's absolutely fact. And you can't dispute it, you can't deny it. And yet, what can save the world but through you? There is no other means. There is no other means in which can save the world. It cannot be done by anyone else. I know you get all into the oneness thing and you're getting confused like separated ones, but no, it cannot be done by anyone else. It's awaiting you. And if you just recognize what this is saying, take out of every variable you can possibly imagine. Just take it out. Just throw it out the window. Because there's only one thing happening here. As much as you want it to be, you're away from it a little while. That's perfectly fine. I know it seems like it's a stretch, but it's just like you go into quiet, go into silence, just for a little while, and you'll find God. In fact, it's the most natural thing that you can possibly ever do. It's right there, closer than even your thoughts are to you. It's closer than your body is to you. It's closer than your existence is to you. It's closer than even just the sensation of being alive. It's like, if that's not what it is right there, can you feel what is closer than my life? Like, what is closer than my thoughts? What is but who I am? Now, of course, yes, the only obstacle really is recognizing who you really, truly, honestly are. And that's authentically recognizing Sure, you can artificially recognize that, and you're going to be trying to perform miracles, and you're going to prove yourself wrong. You'll be like, yeah, I'm one with God. Watch this, walking on water. Just to prove that it's not true. You get people like this, you might even be out there saying, okay, Devin, well, if you're one with God, then why don't you just do this or do that? Yeah, come on, let me punch you in the face and prove to you that you're a body. Prove to you that you're not God. Not one with God or whatever. And that's what is programmed in this experience. Not by the world, by you. You programmed yourself to not know yourself. You made this whole experience to keep yourself separate from yourself so that you don't know who yourself is and can experience what it would be like to not know you. You can go out in the world and do all these different things. This specific physical dimensional experience of having a, look at this, I'm so smart. 3.14159, I know what pi is. All these fascinating things that we could just really fill our noggins with. Except for we can't decide on proper English or any words, really. We can't decide on anything. It's amazing because, yes, anybody that could prove that they are one with God, right? They would have to somehow, I mean, we have these regulations. Well, if you're going to be proving yourself as God or one with God, you should be able to perform miracles. And in fact, you should be able to speak in tongues. You should be able to speak any language anybody can speak. You should be able to lift mountains into the air. You should be able to do whatever it is. Change anything at any point, at any time. And yet, what has the parameters of those laws? Like, what made the physical laws? Like, we like to think that it was something else, right? Someone else. And yet, you can't go against your own decisions until you realize them as your own decisions. So it's a little tricky because of what, say, a miracle worker is quite literally, it is sorcery. And it's been called that in a way because most people don't, like, they're scared of it. But it's the source. Recognizing the source. Why are you scared of it? Because you're trying to avoid knowing it. You are literally trying to avoid knowing yourself. You're here avoiding yourself. You don't want to do A Course in Miracles. You probably don't even want to sit more than 5 minutes doing this. Because you're literally made to avoid yourself. So you have to be really dedicated, really actually wanting it, because it's not about the fact that you need dedication to achieve it. No, it's right there. But you need dedication to overcome yourself. You literally are this set of programming in which is the development to hide the knowledge of God in the experience of being who you are physically. So you're being, say, George, you're being Roberta, you're being Mary Lise, Anna, you're being Devin. You can't know God and be these people. No, it doesn't work that way, right? But it's perfectly fine. A lot of people project guilt into A Course in Miracles, like, I'm in the illusion. I gotta get out. Gotta get out of the illusion. It's not real, right? And completely undermining and forgetting the whole fact of what, say, has developed this experience in the first place. Like, A Course in Miracles and many other books cannot instill guilt into you. It's not made that way. You like to think it is. They're like, oh, I'm guilty of it. Because you're projecting it onto it. You are putting the guilt on it, in it, so that you can hide yourself further. You wouldn't hide yourself from, say, what is love, right? But that's what, say, you're learning to be, say, sanctified, is to think in a way of holy manner. To think not holy as in Holy, but as in Wholly. Holy, complete, not partial. And how many laws are we working with? How many political, when you get into your political stance, how many laws are you in favor of suppression and in favor of freedom, and then another law you're in favor of suppression and freedom? Completely opposite. Double-minded, and you can't actually, you don't even know that you're not even whole. And you're training your sense of awareness so that you can actually discover, even just little by little, wow, I can't believe, as I'm so double-minded. I don't know what else to call it, but I can't believe that I'm in favor of this. I remember being double-minded. There was a time. It's like a double standard. So many people, I hear it all the time. All the time. Pretty much anytime anybody shares something about what should be done or shouldn't be done, is sharing a double standard. If it's okay here, but it's not okay there. And it's like, when is love okay all the time? When is it gonna be okay all the time in every area? And we keep pushing it off, holding it off, like, no. I'm not gonna let love be available here, but only in these areas with these specific people, not in that. And of course, you gotta distort and misunderstand what love is so that you don't even, I mean, it's completely outrageous. No, I'm married, right? I can't show love over there. I got a specific person I do that with. We're not talking about sex. We're talking about love. How can you think like God? How can you be in the position of, say, God, that is all just loving, if you don't even understand that love is all that you can do? If you think there's other things you can do, you're double-minded. You can't do anything else but love. You never have been able to. Now that flips it around even more, doesn't it? So it's always been there, and it's always here now. You just have been denying yourself. You're trying to fit into the world. You're trying to get, I mean, this world's complex, right? Very complex. So of course you can't just have, what is the answer? Oh, it's love. What is the answer? Oh, like love is the answer to everything? What? You don't even understand that. It's like when it gets practical, that's not practical. How much are you paying on your taxes this year? Oh, love. I'm paying love. And you, again, distort it into physicality. It's not physicality. So, yes, let's actually be quiet. And let's find that voice that is yours. It's an interesting thing, absolutely. Especially if you're new to spirituality, of course, this is pretty intense. It's likely that you're not even this far in the course, but if you if you're reverting to the idea that being one with the universe, what? I'm not one with the universe. I mean, when you put it in that frame of reference, one with the universe. Well, yeah, okay. I'm in the universe. I can't get out of the universe. Can't be separate from the universe. I'm obviously made out of stuff from the universe. But if you have an idea of God being something other than that, it does get confusing. Maybe God's a literal person living on another planet. You know what that's called? an extraterrestrial. In that case, you might be the extraterrestrial to them. We're talking about God, not aliens.